to some extent, linguistics was born out of psychology, out of the cognitive revolution. And, I take that heritage very seriously. So what I do too is I look at something that maybe you read about in a dusty old book, as it were, right, which is beautiful and worn and everything, perhaps, and then go, what influence does this aspect have on that? Or where does this come from? And is there an experimental way to get at that, right? I also look at sort of biases in human communication, sort of things like we're more likely to use words that to us sound like what they mean ever so slightly sometimes, right? And words like this, they're said to be what are called iconic, which means you can guess, which means you can, get at the meaning more easily, etc. And these iconic words, if they are easily guessed or the meaning is somehow apparent to the speakers, well, that should hold across languages too. So then what do? You plan an experiment. You take two groups of people who speak totally different languages, and one has maybe a set of words that you want to look at, and you see if the other people, the other group, can get at that meaning across languages that they don't know, for instance, right? And so that would be one example of the type of experiments that I would be doing. How do you construct a sentence in a certain way that would, maybe have, a Spanish speaker react differently from, say, an indigenous language speaker of one of the many languages in, say, the Amazon, or even, between German and Spanish, or English and Spanish, or whatever, right? And what's nice about working with Spanish, of course, in this sense too, is that Spanish is such a global language. So you get these kind of contact zones all over the world where you can go, Spanish speakers are in interaction with, speaker X or Y, etc., of this other group of languages that could be totally different, right? Just as an example, Turkish or Quechua or Guarani or any of these languages from all over the world, or even Spanish influence in the Philippines, things like that. And yeah, from both a kind of humanities perspective and this more scientific perspective, you can start to look for explanations about really interesting phenomena that appear at these cross sections.